and of course once I got started I really enjoyed it, because that's kind of been the whole thing with this Ingrid. I've dreaded doing certain things and then I've just enjoyed it when I've gotten there. Hi, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, hi, my name is Oline and I'm knit from Norway, and welcome to my knitting podcast. Here I talk about all things knitting, my current project, my finished projects, my planned projects, sometimes yarn, and in general just everything that comes to mind while I sit here and chat with you. Thank you so much for coming to hang out with me today. Before we get started, I do just have to say that I had to start podcasting a bit late today, so hopefully there won't be any big lighting differences, and really hopefully the sun won't go down while I sit here and chat. Fingers crossed for that. But that being said, I think we can start with what I'm wearing, and today I'm wearing my Camisole No9. It's finally spring enough here that I have started to wear some of my summer knits. This is my Camisole No9, as I said, by Myfavoritethings.knitwear. I made this last summer, but just on the cusp of summer. I started a bit too late, so it was finished like mid to late August, I think, which summer was pretty much over here by then, so I've just been able to use it a little bit as a layering piece this winter, which has been great. It's like a wool tank, so it's been great on like medium cold days where I just want wool underneath a wool sweater. And I've loved using it under cardigans, like my April cardigan and my Agneed cardigan, my white and black cardigan, because this green is just a pop-up color, so I love to wear it with those cardigans. But I am so pleased now to be able to layer it with like lighter cotton materials and using it on its own even. I didn't get to do that at all last year really, so I'm really excited for that this year. I made this one using drops merino in that strong green color. Here it is. I still have a lot of it in my stash. This was the first ever project I used this yarn for, because I don't know, something about this yarn just screamed that it wanted to be made into this camisole, and I absolutely love it. But when I was going to make it, I did make two swatches, because the original pattern for the Cami number 9 is knit with 3mm needles, I think. So I tried that first, but I didn't quite hit gauge. I had a few too many stitches. I had too few stitches per 10 centimeters, so the width would be bigger. And then I did it with 2.5mm also, and I hit gauge spot on. I washed and blocked them first before measuring, and with 2.5 I hit gauge spot on. So I started knitting this tank up with 2.5mm needles, but as I was knitting it I realized, I wouldn't say quickly because I think I was literally here when I realized that I was knitting a lot tighter on the like whole garment than I had on my swatch. So actually with this one had a mid-project block where I just put all my stitches on stitch holders and threw it in the washing machine just to see how much it would grow, and it grew enough that it fits me, and I don't know, it is quite comfortable now. It has definitely grown on me, both figuratively and literally, so it is a piece I like and I have gotten a lot of use out of it, but it's definitely skin tight and a bit tighter than I had meant it to be, because once I knit the full garment I just did not hit gauge. It turned out to be a lot tighter even after the blocking, but I figured out with that mid-project block that it would be big enough for me to wear it, so I did continue and finished it, and I do like it. I have worn it as much as I've been able to this winter, and I especially love the color, but I'm definitely this year going to try to make another one, both because I want Cami number 9 that isn't quite so out there, because this bright green definitely is. So I want to make one in black that's just a basic, I can pair it with anything. And I also want to try to knit it on 3mm needles just to see if I actually hit gauge with that, or if I just don't hit gauge with this. But yeah, I think I would rather try it with 3mm needles than to size up a whole size, because it does fit. It's just a bit tighter than I would like really want it to be. So I think 3mm needles would be nice. And this is also a heads up to everyone who does gauge swatches. I usually don't, but I did for this one and it didn't turn out exactly as it should still. So gauge swatches should probably be done in the same way you're actually going to be knitting the garment, and still your gauge might change when you're knitting the full thing. But yeah, that is my Camisole number 9 by Myfavoritethings.knitwear, and hopefully I'll get to make another one this year, and I want to start soon because I don't want to end up having the same issue that I did last year, where I make it just at the end of summer and I don't really get to wear it in the summer at all. So this year I'm going to try to start my summer knits in May or June instead of late July, August. So hopefully that will help. But that's what I'm wearing today. And then we can move into my whips. And as always, we'll go oldest to newest. And I'll start with showing off my wedding dress. And I think this is one of the last weeks where I'm going to show it every week, because I am nearing a point where I feel like I won't be making as much noticeable progress each week, because I am almost done with the top. And once the top is done, and hopefully I'll be happy with the top this time so I won't have to redo it, but once the top is done I'm just going to be working on the skirt, and I probably won't be working as much each week on it then as well, because I want this to be a pretty long-term whip. I want it to last as a whip almost until the day I get married. So I am not going to knit like crazy on this. Once I'm done with the top, I'm just knitting like crazy now while I still have all of my thoughts and ideas fresh, so it's a bit easier to think and figure out. But this is where we're at now. I know my goal last week was to finish at least one strap, hopefully two. I didn't get that far, but I did finish one. I did finish the first one yesterday and I got to try it on, so I'll try to find a good picture so you can see that too. It's definitely not super easy to try it on and really see the final vision when you only have one strap and none of the detailing is there. As I said, it's really hard to really see the final vision even when trying it on, when none of the details that really pull it together are there, because I definitely would want the I-cord to help this widen out a bit and maybe even stretch out the cable a bit more like it is on the back. I would love for this to be a bit more stretched out, and at least make sure that it doesn't stretch out in this direction, because I don't want that, but I think the I-cord will help with that. And yeah, I'm just really curious what the I-cord will do with the final fit, really, because this is quite tight, so I'm a bit worried that an I-cord up top will make it a bit too tight at the top. I do have an I-cord down here, but that is fine, but I'm afraid the I-cord up top will make it a bit tight because I'm a lot wider up here than down here, of course, but fingers crossed that will be okay. Also, I have a corset back, so I think that would solve the issue if there were any issue. But now I'm just really excited to finish everything up to the point where I can do I-cord, even though I think the I-cord will be a bit of a process because there's going to be a lot of stitches and a lot of work to finish the I-cord edging around everywhere, but I think it will be worth it and that it will pull everything together and make it look nice and neat. I'm really excited to hopefully be happy with all of the details at the end, because all of these stitch holders and loose ends, all of these ends that I haven't blown in because I'm unsure about how I'm going to feel, they're very much in my way now. I struggle to knit on this without them getting in my way. I try to tuck them like away inside here all of the time, but at this point they're just too many, so I am really excited to be done with the top part of this dress. I feel like I've been working on the top part of the dress forever and it's taken so long and taken a lot of like brain power and thinking and everything, so I am really excited to finish up the last strap, which you can see here just barely started. Hopefully that will move a lot faster because I don't have to second guess myself every second of the way and I can just count cables and bang it out. But I am super excited to finish the second strap so that do all of the I-cord one last try on and then be able to work on the skirt, because hopefully, fingers crossed, that will be mindless and I can just knit on it a bit here and there. The skirt will also be on 4mm instead of 3.5, so that will be nice. My hands don't really like 3.5mm, don't know why, because my hands love 3mm needles and 4mm needles, but 3.5mm my hands just don't like. My gauge is always off. Of course, for this one it doesn't matter because I have chosen the yarn and the needle size and everything to make the fabric I would want, so it doesn't matter. But usually with 3mm I can never hit gauge. I always struggle. There is just something about 3.5mm needles that my hands do not like, so I'm excited to take a bit of a break from it after this, and I am getting really close to this actually like being a top and looking like something, and I love that because just a few weeks ago this looked like nothing and now I can like start to see it coming together, which is really exciting. So now I just want to bang up the last few things and move on. I am really excited about that, but as I said, I probably won't update like this every week because now I feel like I've been doing some pretty like big things the last few weeks, like this corset back and these straps, but once I just work in the round on the skirt, that won't be super interesting. Speaking of just working in the round on the skirt part, this is exactly that, but this moves a bit quicker, so I'll just give a little bit of an update, but I don't think I'll update on this super often either because not a lot happens, it just gets longer. But this is the mohair skirt that will go on the outside of the wedding dress, so like this. It's actually too long now to see it all in camera. I did get quite a lot of progress on this week, but as I said, this is the mohair skirt, like the tulle skirt that's going to go outside of the dress, and I feel like it's finally long enough now that I can start to see how much poof it's going to be. Of course it bunches up a lot now because these needles are a lot shorter than the width of the skirt is, but I think this is going to be really cute. And this is the length I have achieved, and I've used 2 skeins of each, so 50 grams of each color of the white and the blue mohair that I'm using. I don't have it with me here right now actually, but the white and the blue mohair I've used have got me this far. So this is 100 grams of mohair on 8mm needles. My hands also don't like 8mm needles, everything chunky my hands don't like. So currently this whole dress is knit on needles that my hands don't love, but very soon it won't be that way. And I am just working a little bit here and there on this skirt because, as you can see, it moves along really quickly, so I don't really have to push myself to work on this a lot. I have 15 skeins of each color for this skirt, and this is 2, and it's going to go in my waist like tie, you see, with that bow there, and hopefully hit floor length. And now it is like right there, if you can see that. I don't know how I would describe it. Let's see if we can back up and show it to you then. It hits like maybe right below the like right below my hips, maybe I would say this reaches now. So it's grown a lot just from those 2 skeins of each color, so I don't think I'll actually need 15 of each. So I can either make some cool accessories, or I'll have leftover mohair for at least another project. But this is the wedding skirt, and yeah, I'm just really excited about this whole project, and I feel like I'm really starting to see it actually come together now. And I have worked on this since middle to late February, my parents' wedding day, the 22nd of February, and just now, a couple of months later, it's finally starting to look like a dress. Starting on the skirt part definitely helped, and finally being able to close up the back of the wedding dress. But I still have yet to do the part that I'm most excited about, and that is to start knitting the skirt on the main wedding dress. That's been the only thing I wanted to do this whole this whole process really. But I'm really happy that I've been able to put it off until last, so I can just work out all of the other kinks before I start on what is going to be hopefully the mindless knit part of it. But that being said about the wedding dress, we can move on to my other project. And the next one up is my Ingrid sweater. She's been on my needles for so long now. I think it's been over a month, and I thought I was going to be a lot faster, but I have loved working on the Ingrid, but I've also loved taking my breaks here and there. So she's definitely been through a few breaks where I've been focusing on other things, and this week too she was on a break for honestly all week. I think in the last podcast I said that I wanted to work a lot on the Ingrid because I was almost done. I just had the sleeves to go, and that was true. I really wanted to work on the Ingrid, but I just procrastinated picking up the sleeves so much. I don't like picking up stitches at all. I've gotten better at doing it, so I enjoy it more now, but it's definitely not something I love doing, enjoy doing. Or I think I enjoy doing it for necklines now, but for sleeves I just don't like it. So it took me a really long time to find the motivation to pick up stitches for the sleeve of the Ingrid. But I did finally get the motivation. I got the motivation, I think, yesterday. So all of this is knit. Yesterday I finally picked up stitches and started, and of course once I got started I really enjoyed it, because that's kind of been the whole thing with this Ingrid. I've dreaded doing certain things, and then I've just enjoyed it when I've gotten there. But I picked up stitches here, and I did a bit of those pearls and yarn overs, and then of course with the ribbing here you have the lovely German short rows. I love German short rows, so that was a treat to be able to do those. And then just, yeah, all of the other patterns and structures you have on the body, you also have on the sleeve, which I love. You're always entertained, there's always something happening. You have to kind of pay attention. And with the sleeve you have even fewer stitches, so there's something new happening even faster, and you also have to keep decreases in mind. I almost forget about them all the time, so I almost forget to do them, but then I remember just in time, thank God, because I would hate to frog structure. I've done that before, don't like it. It feels like such a waste of time and energy spent knitting just to frog it. But yeah, I have loved working up the sleeve, and as I said, I did this in mostly just an evening, and then I've done a little bit on it today as well. So I think maybe I could finish this whole thing by next week at least. I hope I would be able to finish this sleeve today, honestly, because it is going by quite quickly and I just want to knit on it. Hopefully I'll have a bit of evening left after this as well, where I can knit on this and hopefully finish the sleeve or get to the cuff at least. I would love that. And then I just have the second sleeve to go, and I really hope I'll be able to just pick up stitches immediately, still on like a high from finishing this sleeve. That is my plan, to just finish the sleeve, be on a high and immediately pick up stitches so I don't start procrastinating again. And then that sleeve could also possibly be finished in a day, so maybe I'd be done tomorrow or the day after, so maybe during the weekend. I would really love that because I can't wait to wear this, and the more I look at the color and the stitches, and it's just so lovely. I love the stitch definition, I love the yarn. This project has been with me for so long now, so I just can't wait to finally be able to wear it. As I said, it is starting to get a bit warmer here, but I don't think that's necessarily going to last for very long or last all summer. So I am really excited to be adding this into my wardrobe, and I think this is a great color for spring as well. So yeah, I can't wait to have this finished, but I just need to actually get to knitting on this instead of procrastinating. Another really great thing I've noticed is this is my second skein for this sleeve. The skeins, of course, are not even at all. I don't know if they're 50 grams, 20 grams. They're a bit of both because I got this yarn on Summer's Garn Outlet. But as I said, I only have like 1.5 sleeves left. And this is all the yarn I have left, so I have quite a few skeins left. Of course, they are very differently sized. These are quite small, these are even smaller, but there are some like pretty regular sized skeins in there as well. So I think I might have enough yarn to make a Ingrid for my son as well. I looked up the size I want to do for him, 4 to 5 years. And for that I need 350 grams of peggynt, and I would say this is probably more, and then my guesstimate is that I would need probably these two as well to finish that one. And then I still have a pretty good amount left, so I need to finish the Ingrid so I can weigh what's left, and hopefully I'll have enough yarn in the same poppy, in the same dye lot, same everything to make my son a poppy sweater. He really wants a Ingrid sweater. He actually hugged the yarn to his chest today. That was the latest time he's done it, and said that the yarn was for him and that he needed a sweater in it. So I have a lot of incentive to actually finish the Ingrid now. I just need to get knitting time and need to prioritize this one. But that's it for the Ingrid sweater. I think I mentioned that I'm knitting it in Cardigan in the color Poppy. That's what I'm doing. It's size medium as well. But that's it for the Ingrid, and then we can move on to my next project, and that's the pole cardigan. And I think last week I'd done the shoulders and the German short rows. And then this week I told myself I wasn't really supposed to prioritize the pole cardigan because I have a lot of other things that need my attention, like the wedding dress and the Ingrid and some other projects I'll get back to later, but I just couldn't stop myself. This color is so lovely and so fun, and the yarn combination is so soft and just fun to work with, so couldn't stop myself. This is the yarn combination I'm using. I'm using the same Drops Baby Merino from the Camisole No9, and I'm pairing it with Kid Silk in a really similar color. I think this Kid Silk is called Parrot Green, and these two together match really nicely. Kid Silk is a bit lighter, which brings a bit of dimension to the Baby Merino. So this is the pole cardigan, if I didn't mention, by Morecaknit. So last time I podcasted I was about here, or maybe I was all the way up here actually, and then I knit some just regular back and forth on the back yoke here, and then I started with these increases. And one thing I really like about this pattern, and maybe it's true for all of Morecak's patterns, I don't know, I've only tried this one, is that she uses a lot of techniques I'm familiar with, but she uses them in just a slightly different way, or yeah, just her designs are a bit different. For example, I do a lot of raglan. I'm really used to raglan increases, but here for the raglan increases they are just really spaced out. I think there are 4 rows in between each increase, which just really makes it a lot harder to see the increases. It makes it blend into the fabric a lot more, and it's not like such a clear line where you're doing the increases. And I really like that. It looks so seamless and flawless, and it's such a nice part of the design. So that was just really fun to do it that way too, because these are the increases like under here to increase for the underarm part. And then I also have started on, what would that be, the right shoulder, which also had some German short rows, which I loved. And then those same increases, this is a V-neck cardigan, so it has of course the increases to make it a V-neck in the same way, which is quite seamless. You can of course see them if you look for them, but I think they're a lot less noticeable than when you do them more frequently. And here is again for the underarm part. So I'm done with the back yoke and the first front part. It's not the shoulder because that's this part, but the front yoke, the right front yoke I guess. And now I have to do the left one. I also did most parts of this today. Just the last few days I have gotten a lot of knitting time. Earlier this week not so much because I was busy rearranging my stash. Had a lot of fun, got a lot of new inspiration, idea, just a lot of new knitting inspiration, which I've used a lot of to just knit like crazy, having so much time knitting. So I've done a lot today. All of the increases on the back yoke and this whole front piece on this I've done today. And I do wish to continue and work the left front piece and connect everything, but as I said, I am focusing on the Ingrid. But if I finish the first sleeve and pick up stitches for the next sleeve on the Ingrid, I'll allow myself to start on this. I managed to do all of that tonight. But yeah, this is just a really fun knit, and I am loving this color for spring just as I'm loving this. This is the same, just a bit more elevated, I feel, because of the kid silk, and also cardigans in spring is just the perfect thing to wear. Open them, close them, wear them over your shoulders. They're just such a flexible piece of clothing, so love that, and I can't wait to add a cardigan in such bright colors to my wardrobe. But that is the pole cardigan. I hope that I've been able to connect everything, not in the round, but connect everything in the back and forth, I guess, by next time. And hopefully I've done a bit more, but that's the main goal. And then I only have one active project left after that, I think, actually. My last project is this baby blanket, which I really have not been knitting on, so I'm not going to talk a lot about this baby blanket, but this is it. It is the Garntopia baby blanket by Yndestrikk. I am sizing it up a lot. As you can see, it is going to be quite big in length. Once it's all stretched out and off the needle, what I'm doing is, instead of knitting it on the 5.5mm needle that the pattern says, I'm doing 9, and I'm knitting it with Dopp's Air double-stranded, and this is about, I've used up the first 2 skeins and then maybe half of the other 2, so, and I have 10 skeins, so I'm not quite halfway. I'm halfway to halfway, I think, about, and you can definitely start to see the leaf patterning start to show now. I have not knit much on this since last time, as I said, but I think you can see the leaves a bit better now. There are a few lighting issues. I think you can see them there, maybe. But yeah, as I said, not knit a lot on this. I have knit on the wedding dress, and since that's chunky needles, I can't knit on this because my hands don't like chunky needles, so I have to be careful, because if I push it, I might really injure them or pain them, and then have pain when I knit, even if it's not chunky needles. So with chunky needles, I try to be very careful to not overdo it. So this week it was the wedding dress that got most of my attention, and maybe this next week it will be this. I am really excited for this baby blanket. I love the pattern with the color. I love how fast it goes. I love how fast it's going to clear out some of the yarn from my stash. There's just a lot of great things about it. We also have a similar blanket that I showed in the last podcast that we use a lot, so I'm really excited to add another one in the mix. But yeah, as I said, not knit a lot on this week, so there's not really anything to say, but that's it. And then we can move into finished objects, and this week I actually have one. I am trying to be a bit better at actually finishing my knits instead of just casting on new ones, because I have been casting on a lot of projects lately, so I want to finish some too, mostly because I want to cast on more projects. I really, as I said, I really want to start my summer knitting wardrobe, so need to get some of these like wool sweaters of my needles. But what I finished this week was the Carl's cardigan by Petiteknit. This is for one of my twin cousins who is getting christened in early June, and I'm making their christening outfit. This is part of it. This is the Carl's cardigan in size. What size did I knit it in? I think maybe 9 to 12 months, just because I thought a jacket being big wouldn't be too bad, and also in my experience Carl's cardigans definitely run on the smaller side, so I just wanted to play it safe, so I did it in quite a big size, so I'm sure it will pass. It will fit at some time instead of it just being too small. Always, that doesn't really help anyone. So this is the Carl's cardigan. I think it was pretty much done last time. I think it maybe just missed button bands, but those are now on. I think I did one buttonhole too few, but I don't think that's going to be that bad. Now I need to weave and ends and sew in buttons, and then it will actually be done, but I think I'm going to do that when I do it on the other Carl's cardigan I have to make. But I have already finished another piece of the christening outfit, this Moby Slipover. So I just wanted to show like what the outfit will look like. So this will be it. It is a bit hard to show in this lighting. I should have been able to podcast a bit earlier, but this is it. Of course, the Carl's cardigan will curl a bit less once it's been washed, and also the Moby will be a bit shorter once that's stretched. But that's the outfit so far. This Carl's cardigan was also my first meeting with Drops Daisy. I have had Drops Daisy in my stash for really long, but I've just not been able to cast on my intended project. So when I got this Drops Daisy to make them their christening gift, I was really happy to get an incentive to really try out the Drops Daisy finally. And I must say, it is one of my favorite yarns just from knitting with this sponge. It is so ridiculously soft. It feels great in this finished garment. I love the feel of it. This is definitely great to use for babies and working it up as well. The yarn just feels so thick and plump, and it just feels wonderful on my fingers when I was working it with it. It didn't like cut into my finger, or it just flew off the needles really well. I loved working with it. It also did so well with the smock patterning. I think that's also a bit to do with the color, because of course like lighter colors will look better with structures than really dark ones. As you can see, it's not as easy to see the structure on the Moby Slipover as it is on this one that's lighter, but I also definitely think Drops Daisy did a good job with the stitch definition. And if this is my experience when I try it with the other Drops Daisy yarn I have in my stash as well, that's in a different colorway, and as I'm doing a bit of a different project with, this is definitely going to become a yarn I choose a lot, because this is great. I can't get over how much I love the feel of it now that it's in my hands. Also, I just want to cozy up with it, especially this part that's stockinette is just so soft and squishy and lovely, and I spent a good chunk of my time knitting this up, just petting the yarn and making my fiance pet it and telling him, oh, isn't this really soft, and then telling him, say it's soft back to me. So I'm obsessed with Drops Daisy. It's definitely a yarn I'm going to try more. Hopefully, I have about 1 kilo for the project I'm doing that's not this. for these jackets. I think I got 600 grams and I used about 150. So after both of these jackets are done, I'm going to have 300 left of that. And then the yarn in my stash is actually back here, the green one there. I have about 1 kilo of that, and I don't think I'm going to need more than 700 of that either. So that means I'll have 300 of each. So maybe I can make a striped sweater or something for my son. I have been eyeing the Sibling sweater by Laura Penrose. And then I keep forgetting about it, but I keep getting reminded by you. Thank you so much in the comments. So I think the Sibling sweater, with these two colors could be really cool, and Drop Daisy is lovely, so I know it would be comfortable. So that's definitely something I also want to do once I'm done with the projects the yarn is mainly intended for. But after going through my stash and starting to just look for what to do with all the yarn in my stash, my mind is just bubbling over with all of the possibilities and everything I want to get done. But the christening outfit is definitely a priority, and only one twin has a finished outfit, and it's only finished with modifications because no ends are ribbed and no buttons are done. So I really need to get moving on this because I have a month to go. A bit less actually, because of course they want the outfit a bit before the christening to be able to try it on and see that it fits and everything. So I have a bit less than a month to go to finish both of them. So I really need to get started on the second Carl's Cardigan and the second Moby Slipover. I'm probably going to do the Moby Slipover first since I did the Carl's Cardigan just now. But I am tempted to work more with Drops Lima though, so we'll see. Both of my 4mm needles are tied up with the Ingrid and the Pole Cardigan, so that might sway me to do the second Moby Slipover first, even though I do want to work more with Drops Daisy. But this is my one finished project this week. I really hope I'll be able to keep finishing projects. I really want to have more finished by next week because I want to cast on other things, both the christening outfit, which I really need to get working on, and also other projects both for my son and myself for summer. But I think that's all for today. All of my projects, both the active ones and the finished, and a few yarn plans as well, I think. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave a like and a comment, and if you want to see more from me, please subscribe